Welcome, everybody, to a special episode of Recruiters with No Limits. Always live and never scripted. Here with my sidekick and co-host, John Ruffini. Johnny, what's up, buddy?
Good afternoon, Richard.
Good afternoon. Real quick, I got to give a shout out to Advanced Partners there. You know, if you need funding, they are the ones to go to. Guess what's in funding? FUN. That's what they're all about. So if you get a chance, check out my friends at Advanced Partners. And who do we have on the show, John? The one and only. You go for it, man.
The man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Richard Wahlquist of the American Staffing Association. Thank you once again for joining us.
It is always a pleasure, guys. Look forward to this time of the year for a lot of reasons, but also
I love it. So I tell you what, Richard, let's just deep dive into it. The first
this
thing
way,
is,
and then next week, live and in person.
There it is. So the pregame is next week, and we got to talk about Thrive right off the bat. I mean, that's the movement that is making. Richard, just give us some insight on that, because for me and John, we're seeing, I mean, it's just so exciting. Every day there's something new.
Well, thank you. Yeah, so it's part of our broader initiative, Women in Leadership, and it's pretty much what it sounds like. This is about enabling, empowering, helping to develop women leaders. But I've got to make a point, because last year I probably should have done this, and that is that it's not an exclusive club. Men, you can be anywhere on the gender continuum. Everyone is welcome, and in fact, we need to have more male presence there as we're looking to make the industry's leaders look a little bit more like the America that we all live in. So this has got its beginnings a number of years ago with a few of our volunteers, and it's just kind of expanded. During COVID, we started doing things virtually, and so once a year now, we've still got a Thrive virtual program, which is usually in the late spring, and because it's virtual, we pretty much blow up the internet and have around 1,000 seats at that particular program. Thrive Live will have more than 200 women and men from around the country. And one of the things that's most, fulfilling for all of us is the support that we've been getting from all quarters. Now, I know you've had occasion to interview some of the lady leaders, that's the term they use, that wrote that wonderful book, Together We Rise. This was something that we rolled out a year ago, and taking the proceeds, which these lady leaders have graciously donated to the Women Leadership Initiative, in particular for our scholarship fund. Last year, we had 8 women who were selected by our panel of judges for all expense-paid trips to Staffing World, and certainly to the Thrive Live program. These 8 women are unbelievable, and we got to meet them in person. They have decided that they will continue to get together as a group on a regular basis and do one of the things that the lady leaders have done, and that is to create an ongoing kind of book club forum. So they're building upon it. They're the Fearless 8, and we've got a new crop of 8 more scholarship recipients that we're going to get to meet next week at Staffing World. And a big shout out to someone who's been on your show recently, and that's Joni Biley. Joni is the incoming chair of the board of directors of the American Staffing Association. And in the past year, Joni has written a book, Dive In Deep. And Joni is donating all of the proceeds of that book to next year's Women in Leadership Scholarship Fund. So it's a wonderful time for us to network, to learn from each other, and really fulfill that mission, which is empowering and enabling women. We're really excited about it.
I'm amazed. This is really a group of women that they just don't talk the talk. They walk the walk. I mean, they are really committed to it, and they're consistently trying to find new ways to promote the initiative and to publicize it. And they're very unselfishly doing so. I mean, we've seen movements come and go in corporate America and the staffing world, but Richard and I both talk about this a number of times. This one has legs that we haven't seen before. It's really, really awesome.
And we've got some great models that we're emulating. A big shout out to all of the lady leaders, but Joyce Russell, who you know, and she's a past chair of our board of directors. Joyce, along with a couple of other women executives, have been part of a very special group, Committee of 200. It's been around probably for more than 25 years, Washington, D.C., and it's power women from all industries, all occupations. It's a pretty exclusive club, and looking at what they've been able to do and to spin off, it was one of the models that we're looking at here. But I will give all of the props to our lady leader volunteers and to the women of the ASA staff, because this has really been the brainchild and the baby of that is now in its adolescence of some of our key staff members, including and especially Diana Mertz, Kelly Burberg, Haley Jones. I mean, everybody's on board. And this is just going to continue to grow and grow and grow. And we've got some very exciting things that we're pretty certain we're going to be able to talk about in terms of taking women in leadership to the next level. We're in the process of looking for individuals who would like to make a contribution, perhaps an endowment, something like a trust. And not yet ready for prime time, but I think we're going to have some exciting announcements in the next couple of months.
Wow.
That's what it's all about, Johnny. Thrive. And Richard, can they still sign up for the pre next week, the pre-event?
Absolutely. You can go online now, and it's a separate event. And we've got a board of directors meeting. This is kind of a cool story. Just to give you an idea of how seriously our board, men and women, take this. We have historically had a full-day board meeting preceding the opening of Staffing World. Well, and we've had these pre-convention meetings for a number of years, but we've never had like this level of meeting, Women in Leadership Thrive program. So we've cut our board meeting to a half-day program, so the entire board of directors of the American Staffing Association, women and men alike, can attend the session on the afternoon of Monday, the morning of Tuesday, and then the full Staffing World Convention begins, of course, at 3:30 on Tuesday afternoon. And yes, you can go online this afternoon as soon as the podcast is complete, and you can register for the pre-convention events as well as Staffing World.
Wow. I know last year there were huge numbers in attendance. What's it looking like this year if you had to guesstimate?
It's going to be a big group again, just kind of based on the way the economy has bumped along, up and down, up and down. All of my friends who are economists and pundits and prognosticators, from the Federal Reserve Board to the White House Council of Economic Advisors, all of the major investment banks, you guys know. I mean, they've been telling us that that recession is just around the corner, and they started that spiel back in 21, right? So kind of like that clock that's broken, but it's right twice a day. You know, if I tell you the recession is imminent, it's about 6 months out. And then I kick the can down the road and say, the recession is imminent. It's about 6 months out. And we've been hearing that. And I tell you what, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Our industry tends to be historically very cyclical. And the recruiting piece of the business, of course, is more hyper-cyclical, which is to say, when the economy really slows down, hits the technical definition of a recession, people, really slow down hiring. And then, next step is thinking of layoffs. So long way of saying that things are a little bumpy, and a company that maybe last year sent 3 or 5 or 8 or 10 people may be cutting that back a little bit. But we are anticipating now that we're going to have between 17 and 1,800 people in Charlotte in the convention center. So it's going to be a little bigger than Denver, which was 2 years ago, and probably just under the full attendance in Las Vegas. So we're delighted.
Wow, that's outstanding.
I'm excited. I'll just bring all my friends, Richard, okay? And we'll just have
bring all your friends.
That's right.
So you know what's exciting about this, John and Richard? We got to talk about the keynotes right off the bat. I mean, what your lineup is. I got to ask you seriously, who does all this work behind the scenes to get like these speakers like this? Like we had Magic Johnson last year, which I'm going to tell you, I'm a Celtic fan, but he won me over for that speech. I mean, he was incredible.
That was incredible. Yeah. Who does that planning, and how far in advance do you have to go to book these people?
So you guys remember, I talk about larger than life, figuratively and literally. So when Magic jumped off the stage, and he's a big guy. I'm 6'3". I think he's about 6'8". And there's just a lot more of him than me. But the point is that, you go off that stage and, you hit pretty hard. We just didn't want to have an incident there with EMTs, but he's still an athlete. I mean, one of the real joys of my job, and there are so many guys, is that over the years I've had the pleasure of getting to know and sometimes actually maintain continue relationships with some of these superstars. To answer your question, it's a group effort. We throw a lot of nets out in terms of focus groups. So who would you like to hear from? What topics would you like to hear about? And then based on who we've had and who we're planning on having, we'll make some decisions. So we've got some board members, we've got volunteers, and then it really falls to our education team. And that's headed up by Dustin Norwood, who's our Chief Learning Officer, with his number two, Emily Lawson. And between the two of them and me, we make the inquiries. It's easy enough to make inquiries of speakers bureaus, but we want to kick it up a notch. I mean, we're in the people business, so we don't want to just leave this up to a speakers bureau. We want someone to come to this convention as a keynote speaker that gets it. They may not have been in our industry, but they understand it. And if we can get them to drink that Kool-Aid, we know that we've got them for life. So each of these three keynote speakers have come to us in different ways, but start with Coach K. So Coach K is one of those amazing life coaches. He's teaching an executive leadership class. You're familiar with the Masterclass series. It's a great subscription. He's done a masterclass on value-based leadership. But we also heard that he doesn't do a lot of speaking gigs. His life is full and rich post-coaching career. He's got his own podcast that he does, and again, he does a lot of teaching, and he does a lot of philanthropic events. So when we get a good idea of someone that we want to engage, we want them to be enthused. We usually try to find out if there are any people that we know who know them. In this case, there's a business school at Duke University and a couple of other buildings that have a familiar name, and that's YOH, Yo. The Yo company, and they are the division of Day and Zimmerman. And Bill Yo was a chairman of our board of directors. And what a surprise. The entire Yo family went to Duke. It's one of those really, really impressive stories. And it's not the only one in our industry that so many people have been able to find a career that is fulfilling and do well. And after doing well, they want to continue to pay it forward. So in the case of the Yo family, they have made Duke University and encouraging and making available opportunities for people to attend that wonderful institution, a real mainstay of the organization. So I reached out to my friend Bill Yo and his father, Spike, who is very, very close to Coach K. Bill actually graduated with Coach K's older daughter. So we had a really, really nice entree when I put a little letter together to the coach to say, it's a speaking gig and there'll be a fee, but here is why we think this is something that would be meaningful for you. And the message was simple. Leadership is lacking in this world. Resiliency is lacking in this world. I mean, Coach K, I mean, not only has he taken Duke to so many national championships, but he's also the guy that coached the U.S. Olympic team. When you come to Staffing World, we're going to hear some stories that most people have probably never heard or never heard them in person from Coach K. He was telling me a couple of weeks ago as we were preparing for the event about what it was like to take the superstars of basketball who are individuals and make them into a team and some of the tough love that he's known for. But it came together, and of course they achieved Olympic success. So when we talked to him first via the letter that we wrote, and then in person, it was like, so this industry has such depth and breadth. By your sharing your insights, your wisdom, your stories of recruiting, and we're all recruiters. This is a recruiter at another level altogether. But by your sharing these stories of what can make our world, and certainly our industry, a better place, our folks can take this message and make it viral, like the two of you do with your podcast. Just a short preview. One of the things that impressed me as I talked to Coach K was how he actually recruited for Duke. It's easy to identify the young man who is the all-city, all-state, all-American basketball star. And it's just like looking at somebody's technical abilities on a resume. There's much, much, much more than that. And the magic, the extra secret sauce that we add as an industry is getting the fit right and aligning, the talent with the right opportunity. And increasingly that's around, having alignment with mission, purpose, and values. So the coach, and he's not the only one that does this, but I don't know that anybody was doing it at the level he was doing it when he first began. He will travel to that young man's hometown. He will meet with family members. He will meet with teammates. He will meet with coaches, all around qualifying the candidate to get the best sense that this is not just an individual superstar, but this is someone that can be part of a cohesive team. He spent more time in recruiting and separating the wheat from the chaff, the kind of stuff that great recruiters do, and that's what made him such a great coach. It was being able to identify the talent, finding that there would be an alignment, with his coaching style and the team's basic coaching style, and who wouldn't want to jump on that bandwagon? So he had the luxury of being able to make some great choices. He's a West Point graduate.
Yeah,
not a lot of people remember that or know that. So we talked a little bit about leadership, and you two remember we've had Jim Collins keynote our convention a couple times over the years, and I've had occasion to develop a bit of a relationship with Jim. And in a session a few years ago, I asked Jim. I said, what do you think about young people, the next group of people in the workforce and leaders? He said, Richard, I'm working with all of our military academies on a regular basis. And I got to tell you, and I've done this for many, many, many years. He said, I am more encouraged than I've ever been about the young talent, women and men, that are going to be the next set of leaders in industry and certainly in military and government in America. And I could see that in everything that Coach K has been his entire life. He was given a very special kind of edge and foundation that most people never really are exposed to. And he's carried that through his entire life. And he gets it. He gets what we're doing, and he's excited about spending some time with us.
I love it. You know what I got to say, guys? Coach K, thank you. My bracket every year for 20 years, I won all the time. Made your money. It's like, thank you, K. You can never go against Coach K in the bracket in March Madness. Never.
Never. So we had a love connection with Coach K that he didn't know about, and once we solidified that, plus the message of who we are, and really our pitch to him about, you've been a master recruiter your entire life, as well as a master coach. And it's that stuff that is behind the scenes that really can lead to building highly competitive, highly successful, principled teams that share common mission, purpose, values. So it's going to be a great message.
Yeah, it's a great call, because obviously, like you were saying, there's a direct correlation between what he was doing on the court, building a basketball team and recruiting to make sure that all the pieces aligned and that the culture wasn't disrupted. The same thing goes into effect in corporate America, and something that recruiters have to be in tune to in order to make sure they get the right hire, not just from a can they do the job perspective, but will they work well with this group and within this company? So that's exciting.
Awesome. That was a great pick, man. Incredible. So, okay, Richard, the next guest, before we even start, let's throw the video up there. This guy, I watched the video, Richard, that you guys did for ASA. And I'll tell you what, he sparked my interest right off the bat. I'm thinking this guy's going to be a great speaker. You ready for this, John?
Yes, sir.
Is your AI strategy something like this? You're trying to get up there and you're stuck down here. My talk is called The Good, the Bad, and the ChatGPT. And I'm going to talk to you about AI for business. And I say ChatGPT, which is a kind of new AI called a generative model. As it turns out, there's thousands of these. So in my session, I'm going to teach you all about this lift, shift, flip, or wrecked moment for you as individuals, in your careers, for your companies, and in the industry. We're going to talk about responsible use of AI, use cases, how you can apply generative AI to make your businesses soar in the talent management industry. So, if you want to go from down here to up there, what you got to do is come to my show.
With a top-down view on how AI is going to change your HR strategies, your staffing strategies, and recruiting and talent management. And where are we going to talk about this? We're going to talk about this at Staffing World, at the American Staffing Association Conference and Expo. We're going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina, October 35th. Register at staffingworld.net. They'll see you there so you can plan your top-down.
Man.
So he right away, I mean, it's kind of a little bit against stereotype, right? AI geek kind of person. No, there he is,
He's got a
out
swag.
hiking in the wilds, and it's probably an apt metaphor. Maybe he intended it. I'd not thought about it till just now, but it is the wild, wild west, just in terms of the exponential explosion of technology of all kinds. And when I talk to members and business groups and executives, we all got caught up, last November when a few people who knew a few people who knew a few people started saying, "Hey, have you tried this open AI website thing? It's pretty cool, kind of scary, but you got to take a look at it. You got to take a look at it." So we're talking to Paul, and we found him by throwing out a lot of nets, and again, saying, who are top five right now, not just in AI generally, but who can connect the dots to the industry that we are in. And so, as you heard Paul say in that promotional piece, we hear about Google Bard and we hear about ChatGPT, and there are, as he put it, hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands of other iterations of AI. And we've been using AI for years and years and years, at least a decade. I mean, how many of us have smart speakers in our home, that, whether they're, called Alexa or you've given them another name, the Google searches that we have been doing forever and ever have used elements of AI. So when we talk about automation and we talk about AI, it's not necessarily new. It's just getting smarter and smarter and smarter, potentially more effective. The outcomes are truly astonishing. We're seeing science fiction all of a sudden writ large, and it's not just CGI. If you've seen some of the robots that Elon Musk has demonstrated to the world, that Boston Dynamics have unveiled, they're getting to a point now where the robots are actually able to make decisions. There's a couple of great videos where a robot is given what would seem to be a fairly elemental task, but now the robot has to visually take a look at objects and sort those objects and resort those objects without any sort of pre-programmed control. It's just all based on real-time stuff. So the dystopian naysayers among us go, you see, it is going to be the end of life as we know it, because clearly they're going to be smarter than we are, and they're going to get tired of us. Well, who knows where it's going to end up? But a more utopian version of this is that it will make life on this planet better if it is, properly developed, regulated, and controlled. For our industry, and this is what Paul is going to be talking about, how can we use AI as a tool? And it'll also talk a little bit about we've all seen, heard, and probably experienced, because I've played with it quite a bit over the last 9 months or so. AI, the generative AI that everybody is focusing on, does still tend to hallucinate. And when you talk to the developers of some of these amazing generative AI programs, and you ask, why did it say that? You probably heard there's an infamous interview on 60 Minutes where the answer is, I don't know. I put in the name of a colleague, and I asked AI to write an article about this colleague. Uh, what's interesting is the AI evidently recognizes me and the fact that I have used it. This is actually Google Bard, and it started off by doing a really good kind of a fact-based piece on my friend and colleague, and then just started making stuff up. It told me about a business that he had started, and it was a staffing business, and it was wrong. It was just absolutely wrong. And again, until we can figure out a little bit more about how the AI comes up with what the AI comes up with, as you have seen, all of the generative AI programs now include disclaimers.
Mm-hmm.
Please fact check.
Right.
A law firm and you're using generative AI now to do your legal research as you're building a case, either for or against, in terms of an action that has been brought. I've also read stories of how AI has come up with some really impressive looking cases and like a bibliography or endnotes, even reference material. Once again, in some cases, this was perfect endnote, perfect bibliography form, and perfectly made up.
Wow.
And I don't think the AI is trying to fool us.
No.
The AI is trying to please us, and the generative AI is really looking to kind of fill in. What's exciting about AI for the world, and I was just talking to one of our colleagues yesterday, who's got a best friend who had to have some open heart surgery, and recently, using some of the robots that assist surgeons, every time a surgery gets done, that goes into the programming. So instead of if John, Richard, you're my surgeons, and now I'm relying upon you to bring to bear everything you learned in school and everybody you've ever operated on and every seminar that you've ever attended. Imagine this. If as I'm trying to make decisions because I'm being presented with something that's anomalous, I didn't expect, all of a sudden now this database is able to compute in microseconds, 2, 3, 4 best outcomes, give me percentage statistics in terms of where we're going to end up. And it won't have to just be my judgment with a little bit of guesswork. Now I've got the benefit of every one of these procedures that has ever been done. Same sort of thing when you go to your doctor and he or she prescribes a medication. How do they know what to prescribe? Well, they go to school and they go to webinars and they hear from some pharmaceutical reps and they read the literature. But imagine when we get to the point, we're pretty much there now. It's not widely distributed yet, where everybody that's presenting the symptoms that I'm presenting, that's in this database, all of a sudden now, as the physician, as the surgeon, as the pharmacist, we've got the benefit now of outcomes, side effects, and just efficiencies that none of us could store in our human brains. None of us have enough time to read all the medical journals. None of us have enough time to go to all of the medical webinars. So as a tool, I think that it's as exciting as anything that we've come across. And it's going to automate so much of front and back office. It's going to displace some of the things that people are doing on the positive side, allowing humans to use their intuition, their imagination, their brains, their communication skills, working with other humans and working with AI and machines that are engaging with deep learning and machine learning. But the machines, as we've seen in the history of mankind, is we've gone from plowing a field with rocks and sticks to hooking up to oxen to all of a sudden mechanized tractors that ran on steam. And now you see the big corporate farms. It's AI that's actually planting the seeds and tilling the fields and harvesting. Oh yeah, there's a woman or a man inside of that big fancy tractor. But the AI is doing things more effectively, more efficiently. Not the backbreaking kind of labor that
Right.
has really typified agriculture since the beginning of time. So it's an exciting time. There will be winners and losers, and we're counting on Paul to give us all, those who attend Staffing World next week, give us all a little bit of an edge and a little bit of a sneak around the corner. And again, one of the themes of Staffing World is identifying opportunity. Is this going to be an opportunity that is net additive potentially, or net disruptive? And the answer is yes. It can be
Yeah.
both.
And it's going to be important as people identify it to really, people have a tendency sometimes to just jump in head first and say, oh, we've got to use this without knowing, okay, well, how are we going to use it? And how is it going to complement our business in a positive way? So doing that front end legwork and doing your research and making an informed decision is going to be really important, because there are definite applications for AI in our business. And, people get so afraid, just as they have with every disruptor, that, oh, it's going to replace recruiters. And I don't think the relationship aspect will ever go away. And I saw a quote online the other day that said, AI won't replace recruiters, but recruiters with AI might. And I thought that was interesting.
And as you two know, it has been the subject of a fair amount of scrutiny, both in the United States and internationally. I got the privilege of doing work internationally with the World Employment Confederation. I'm on their board of directors, and we represent the entire world of staffing, working with public policy officials, both elected and appointed, all over the globe. The goal, of course, is to create a good regulatory environment in which our industry can create jobs and opportunity. We can create efficiencies for our clients, do good stuff for society, unimpeded by regulation that does little more than constrain us or add cost. We take a look at the concerns that have been expressed by regulators, again, in the EU and certainly in the United States, both at the national level and at the state level and the city level. And the question is, if I use AI to help me with initial resume screening, depending upon the programming, might that AI actually inadvertently, unintendedly discriminate? And ASA, you probably saw, recently did a survey. We have something called the Workforce Monitor, and which we ask the American public, pressing questions of the day, everything from attitudes about work and remote work and job satisfaction. Most recently, we did a survey on AI and of job seekers who were employed, and it was interesting. A very significant distrust of AI, more of a distrust of AI with a couple of different demographic groups that said, I've heard some stories, and gosh, if I put the wrong words or I don't get enough of the right words on the resume, might I be screened? And might those screens be discriminatory? So it's really kind of put the ball squarely in the lap of organizations that are using the AI. We are working with public policy officials in many parts of the world right now on resist the temptation to overregulate this. Don't make us jump through too many hoops and render the tool ineffective or useless. At the same time, as we've been fulfilling one of our great opportunities and missions, and that's as great assimilators. We have historically helped people gain access to employment opportunities in perhaps a little less than a traditional way. You can pick the group, but we do a lot of work with one of the national federal agencies within the Department of Labor that specializes in advocating on behalf of people with disabilities. Both physical and emotional, mental disabilities. And our mantra has been, if we do our job right, we're going to identify ability. And our opportunity is to introduce people that might, be a little different than some of the folks that you've had working in your shop before. Let them show you their abilities, and make sure that the screens don't have such narrow little openings in them, that we're weeding out people who want to work, who have proven to be really good workers. Great example. You two know we do a National Staffing Employee of the Year competition, in which our members all over the country, they submit the names and the stories of candidates from each of the 5 major staffing sectors. And the stories are about how through working for this industry, working through this industry, as people come to us and hope to bridge to a new employment opportunity or a new career, how the staffing industry has changed their lives for the better. A couple of years ago, for the first time, we got nominations of individuals who had rave reviews from the clients where they'd been assigned, and some of these individuals were on the autism spectrum. 15, 20 years ago, very, very difficult to imagine, getting employment through a traditional way. But by putting a spotlight on ability and the opportunities that we create for people, the eyes that we open when we introduce diverse populations into a workforce, creates those lovely intersections where creativity, good competition, and success come from. And this young man, we had occasion to talk to not only the staffing firm, the ASA member, but we heard from the client organization where he had been assigned. And if I remember correctly, he had been hired directly. I mean, they were so taken with what he was able to do. He had unique abilities to focus. And he was put into a position that I wouldn't be very good at, because I got 3,000 thoughts in my head at any given moment. And I kind of got to keep them straight and separate them. It's wonderful, wonderful opportunities that we have. Again, back to making sure that the tools we're using are not creating higher degrees of exclusivity, but higher degrees of inclusion, which is really, I think, the holy grail for all of us in our lives. We want to build an inclusive society. We want to have inclusive organizations that we work with and we work for. And I'm very proud of the role that the industry has played and will continue to play in that arena.
So true. All right, you ready for the next guest?
Yeah.
I mean, this one here, I got to show a little quick video. I mean, I didn't know she won 3 medals. This is amazing.
Part of the positive change in the sport of gymnastics.
When she puts her mind to it, there's no stopping her. Oh, she went for it.
That this young lady does better when she knows her back is up against the wall.
We have 2 locations now, 2 in Montgomery County, Maryland. And it's definitely been a very rocky journey, but I do believe what doesn't kill us makes us stronger.
Go Dominique. Woo.
So Dominique,
My home state of Maryland.
Yes, so she's a neighbor here, right? She's from the Washington, D.C. Metropolitan area. She's got, and she's opened up 2, and I think she's got more of these gymnastic ninja studios. So it's gymnastic ninja these days. what an amazing story. The first African American woman to get a gold. And by the way, she said, and I was a little surprised, we didn't ask her. She said, "Oh yeah, I'm going to bring my gold medal with me so people can, touch it." She said, "Wear it, and we can take pictures." She tells us her story, and we've heard this story way too many times, especially of women athletes and women gymnasts in particular. She went through some pretty tough times, like we've heard about, and she said, "We've got to make a change. We've got to put an end to this. We can make this better." Not just create Olympic champions, but create human beings who were totally fulfilled in life, as opposed to they're winning all the trophies and the medals, but in their personal lives they've been destroyed because they've had bad leaders, bad coaches, a bad environment. She's overcome that, and she's. I mean, this is so cool because she's an entrepreneur. I mean, she's a businesswoman. She's an author. She's a speaker, and she's a mom. And
That's right.
she's got a couple of young kids, and she. I don't know if she juggles, but she's maintained, put a lot of balls up in the air, and I don't think she was a rhythmic gymnast at all. She might have done that in the past, but she's just an example of human potential, of human beings that if you're blessed to live in a country like this one, and it's not just the United States. Really, the only things that are holding us back are those voices in our head. Sometimes they are tapes that recordings that we picked up from well-intended, I hope, family members, but maybe weren't exactly the right thing at the right time. She's not a woman, not a human being who looks behind her. It's what can we do? What can we accomplish? And what more good can we do in terms of shaping young lives, young boys and girls? And almost none of them will go on to Olympic glory, but they will develop skills of individual confidence, physical achievement and well-being, and also teamwork. Even though gymnasts compete individually, they have team competitions. And one weak link in the chain, and all of a sudden, that other group ends up with the trophies and with the gold. She's a gold medal human being, and people are going to love her. So we kind of bookended the program. I know you guys are both into sports, and sports are great metaphors for life.
Brings everybody together.
Put yourself out there a little bit, and see what you're able to do individually and with a team. So she's going to close out the show for us.
I love it. I mean, John, do you see this lineup they got? I mean, 3 superstars right there. That's amazing.
High powered. I mean, well, and let's face it, ASA always brings it. Quite frankly, there hasn't been a staffing world yet that you walk away saying, "Oh, that keynote wasn't that good." Always very applicable, and it shows the thought that you guys put into the process to make sure that not only do you get someone that's going to motivate and teach, but also someone that correlates it to our message in our industry, which I think is important for those in attendance.
Plus, it's a variety too. Just not one thing. You got the AI in the middle to juice us up to make us think.
And we are going to introduce you to our National Staffing Employee of the Year for 2024. What an amazing story. And here's the thing. Every one of our member companies have got digital files that are full of success stories of women and men whose lives have been changed forever and gone on to do really, really, good things in life and achieved life success. So this is probably the first time this is going to happen, where we've got last year's National Staffing Employee of the Year, a medical doctor. I learned more about vascular surgery in talking to Dr. Maisha. It's a very, very narrow field. There aren't vascular surgeons in most counties in the country. They happen to be in metropolitan areas. And if ever there was an opportunity for this industry to do things that others can't do, It's through the traveling healthcare model of our industry for locum tenens, physicians, for certainly nurses, all ancillary therapists. And she has shared with us how she, goes into communities where there are no vascular surgeons in residence, and she will be on an assignment to do the kinds of surgeries in the locale that otherwise people would have to travel to, a major medical center, usually, hundreds or thousands of miles away. So Dr. Misha is going to be with us this year, our National Staffing Employee of the Year. Coincidentally, also in the health field, but that's just a piece of her story. So she's got a master's degree in occupational therapy. She works in the school system, and she helps young people with developmental issues develop confidence and be able to succeed in school and in life. But she does so much more. Working for the staffing industry gave her the flexibility to pursue a doctorate in education. So she's also got a PhD in education, and she's an accomplished author, and she's doing good things in terms of raising money and raising awareness. She's got this wonderful, wonderful series of children's book. She is a woman of color, and the books actually are intended to help young boys and girls of all colors have kind of an optimistic view of life, and how to make the sunshine on a really cloudy, rainy day. I'm badly paraphrasing the title of one of her books. But,
you break that into song here, Richard?
Yeah, something like that. So it's she's walking the walk, she's talking the talk, and she's going, look, this industry gave me an opportunity, and now she's getting an even bigger platform for her to continue to. She'll work and make the money doing occupational therapy. I said occupational therapy. She's actually a speech language pathologist, and so she will continue to do that, and she will continue with a foundation that she's created just to do good things for the world. And this is kind of a face of staffing, right? I mean,
heck yeah,
we are proud to have the privilege and opportunity to represent people like this.
Incredible. One thing I got to say, you guys are doing this year is actually the roundtables. I love that. I mean, that's something, don't know if you've seen it. Can you explain a little bit about how you came up with that? I mean, it's going to be interactive for what, 4 or 5 hours?
Yeah, and we've got 45 roundtable discussions.
Yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate your participation and your input. This is where it's something that we have actually been doing for years and years. We got away from it for a little while, and we used to call it Ask an Expert, but it's really not so much about being a monologue from a so-called expert. It's around staffing firms sharing and uncovering kind of their biggest challenges. And it's everything from industry-specific issues and challenges. So next week, what are some of the things that some of the tables are going to be talking about? Well, they're going to be talking about the UAW and the impact on all levels of the supply chain. Assuming this doesn't get all settled out in the next several days, they'll be talking about building strong teams. They're going to be talking about leadership, talking about sales, talking about recruiting, talking about AI. And if I'm at a table with 10 people, one of the things I love to do is, begin the session by, we used to exchange business cards. Now so many of them are digital. But I've just made 9 new contacts at each one of those tables that I've been at, and in so many cases, this leads to, hey, you know what? Let's see. Can I catch you in the expo this evening or tomorrow morning? We'll have a cup of coffee. Maybe we'll have a beer in the evening because we do have fun in our expo. And you've got someone that you can look to, learn from, and share with. And I tell you, this is one of the things you two know. When I talk to executives that come from other industries and they come into our industry and they come to a staffing world event, they go, "I never seen anything like this." We're so competitive out on the street with each other, and we come to staffing world, and all of a sudden we're open books. Well, almost completely, but I mean, the idea here, and it's just economics 101, isn't it? I mean, if the three of us are competitors and the three of us do our job really, really well, yeah, we'll try to take market share away from each other. But if we do the job really, really well, we're gonna expand the size of the pie all over. And so then you make it a bigger pie. And I think that the opportunity for this industry, as flexibility has become such a sought after commodity for both individuals. We want to have a little bit more. I used to say work-life balance. I now say work-life integration, because with technology now, we can begin to do some work, and then we can go work out. We can take care of things with and for our children. And we can pick stuff back up again. It's a lovely, lovely time for us to be able to afford higher degrees of flexibility to people, and of course for our clients. They're also looking to maximize workforce productivity, workforce engagement, and a big piece of that is, of course, providing higher degrees of flexibility for workers.
Mm-hmm.
So true. And you know what, Richard, you guys, and John knows this too, real quick. Without ASA, I've only been in industry for 11 years. I would never be where I'm at now without ASA. Seriously, ASA Central and staffing world, it's amazing how many friends I met over the years.
Absolutely. Agreed.
That ASA community on ASA Central just continues to grow and grow and grow, and you're part of it, and you see how open we are with each other, and how willing people are to say, "Hey, you know what, John? Let's take this to another level. Let's set up a little video chat. Let's see what we can do together." Yeah,
it's an amazingly unselfish community when you go there and you realize it. And you're right, Richard, at Staffing World, it's on display tenfold. And I love seeing people who are there for the first time. They're just awestruck because they're like, everybody's so nice. Everybody's, so willing to share information. It's like, yeah, that's our community.
It is our community, and that's exactly the word that we use, and we take very seriously the opportunity and the obligation that we have to all of you. And so when you talk to our team, and I'm privileged to be able to work with these stellar association professionals. Our goal is to create experiences, and so we've got 4 days full of experiences that are lined up for all of you.
It's going to be so exciting. And the last thing, we got to say thank you to the exhibitors for sure. I mean, without them and the sponsorships, I mean, that expo hall is going to be full again, Richard. I mean, is there anybody out there that you want to talk about or anything like that? I mean, I just want to thank you to all of them.
So I would be remiss if I started picking off individuals, although I'll do a shout out to Advance. Thank you for helping to provide a little bit of funding to my friends John and Richard. Yeah, we're going to have about 170 of the companies, organizations that provide the cutting edge services and solutions to our industry. I do have the privilege of traveling around the world, and I've been at a lot of ASA-like events in other countries. There's just nothing like it. So this is the world's largest forum, expo hall, of again, the leading companies that provide services and solutions to help us do what we do better. You'll have a lot of technology. You'll have a lot of information of new products and services that our associate members, our corporate partners, have developed, again, to help us do our job better. And I'm delighted when we see how much time people spend in the expo hall. We make it fun. We're going to be playing a little bit off of the fact that we're in Charlotte, and it's the home of NASCAR. Not everybody in the country is familiar with or big fans of, but I guarantee you're going to come away from Charlotte with a newfound appreciation, or at least an awareness. And so when you're in the expo hall, we're going to have a chance to kind of follow a track. We've got something else. I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about it or not. But,
you guys are, come on, man.
Who's going to know? So we were talking to the staff a month or so ago. We're going to have little competitions. I'd like to see you there. So if I say slot car to someone who's under the age of 20, perhaps, I don't know what that is, a car and a slot. I grew up with Hot Wheels, maybe, Richard. But when I was a little boy, we actually had racing car tracks. And so they were either full gauge or HO model. And it was great fun. And we've got not only a layout that's going to help people navigate the hall and collect opportunities to win some prizes. But we actually got a competition going with a really high-end, tricked out, with some coaches and referees, racing car track. So you're not going to be buckling in and putting on a helmet, but we can go toe to toe, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to introduce people probably to a world that I frankly didn't know continued to exist amongst hobbyists.
Wow.
Tell you what, I'm excited now, John. Look, he left it out of the bag now. Look out.
That's right.
I'm going to practice my driving skills this weekend.
Go.
Oh, so much fun. Hey, John, anything for final wrap up for this, brother? Ooh,
what is there to say? Thank you, as always, Richard, for taking the time to be with us. Best of luck for another successful Staffing World. It sounds like it's just an agenda chock full of value-added content. So combining the leadership, the motivation, the AI, all the things that people want to know about. So thank you. The one thing I do want to say is I think you ought to reward yourself for the work you do for us, Richard. That monitor behind you, you got a lot of wall space. You can go bigger.
Hey, let me tell you too, I've enjoyed the time we've just spent, and I mean this sincerely. It's the two of you in particular, but the members of our industry. I'm actually coming out of this little time we've had together, full of enthusiasm, empowerment, and excitement to be with you guys and all of our friends from around the country and around the world next week in Charlotte. So thank you for what you're doing. I know you've both got day jobs, but this podcast of yours is really cool, and I commend you for having the foresight to have launched it before so many others got on that podcast bandwagon.
You got it. Thank you, brothers. Okay, so you guys ready? We talk about NASCAR in Charlotte. Come on, one person when you think of Charlotte. It's the one and only Ric Flair. Am I right? So
gosh.
On three, we got to do the, woo to Staffing World. You guys ready? 1, 2, 3. Woo! Woo! That's what it's all about. And you know what? Look at this. These are the new 2 tag team champions right there.
There it is.
Go.
Love it.
Hey, it's all about having fun. Hey, Richard, thank you again for taking time, buddy. I can't wait to see you next week. Fist pump, maybe grab a drink or something like that. But thank you to everybody out there. If you guys get a chance, you can still make it. Register below. We want to see you there.
Hey, appreciate it, guys. See you in a couple of days.
See you in Charlotte. Take care, everybody.